Hey guys, it is another late night, and I don't know if you've come to realize this, but there's actually a late night uniform. Hair and pigtails because I don't like my hair on my neck when I'm getting ready for bed, and I'm wearing pajamas, and this sweater I wear on top of all of my pajamas. So when you see me like this means that Amy's making a late night video. It's kind of a uniform. Cadence is over there chomping on a bone. You're going to hear it for the rest of this video. Couple things I wanted to talk to you about upcoming videos. I wanted to tell you a little bit about myself to explain why I don't like the word soaker and other things of that nature. I've had several people ask me in my Facebook groups, hey, what's your deal with the word soaker? And I'll get into that. And then the other thing is I've started a Facebook group. The Facebook page that I had dedicated to the YouTube channel is still there, and I'm going to leave it there, and I'll still post updates there. But people were a little uncomfortable posting there because, as it turns out, there's a closed group on Facebook so that only people who are in the group will see what you're posting, and so that you can speak freely about these things without, everybody you went to high school with seeing what you're talking about. And I completely get that. So I have created that, and the link will be here on your screen, and then of course the link will also be down below in the description. So please join us there if you wanted to join in the conversation. There is a whole community online on Facebook. There are lots of wonderful groups of people. So if there are places that you want to actually interact in real time, all of that is available for you. And if you come to Facebook and join us, we can tell you there are sewing groups, there are places where you can talk about health issues, there are places where you can talk just about cups, there are places where you can buy, sell, and trade fabric, cups, destashed pads. There's advice and community available for people who are new to this, or for people who've been doing it a long time and want to talk to others about new ideas and that sort of thing. So all of that will be available. So let's go ahead and get into it, and I'm going to talk to you about what I'm working on for you. You're going to hear Cadence over here chomping on a bone. That's what she's doing right now. She's a little irritated with me because I haven't gone to bed yet, and she likes to follow me around. And she's got a little remnant of a bone that she was given for Christmas time, and she's over there chewing on it quite vigorously and looking at me. So that's the soundtrack this evening. The first thing I'm working on is I'm working on an actual sewing a pad video, and there are quite a few out there that I like already. Bree Farmer of Precious Stars Pads has a wonderful video about how to sew a basic pad. I'm going to do something, it'll be similar, only I'm going to use the pattern that we made in the pattern video to make a pad. And I will try to talk to you about the things that were hard for me the first time I was sewing one. So when I get to a point where it was difficult, I'll talk to you about those kind of things. I'm still working on how exactly it should go, because I did one where I just kind of sewed it, and the video angle was really bad and you couldn't see what I was doing. So I've scrapped that, and we're starting over, and my daughter's going to help me, and we'll see if that works better. And then there were a couple of things that I wanted to cover that I realized just weren't in the first one that I did. So I'm still working on how to put together something that I think would actually be useful and different enough to be needed from the other videos that are out there. So that's the first thing, is how to actually sew the pad that I did a pattern for. I'm working on a cup maintenance, how to take care of your menstrual cups video, and I'm talking to people about some things that I don't have experiences with, because that's one of the things you find out when you join the reusables community online, is periods are different for every woman. The whole, there are so many things that are different from person to person. And so there's all of these factors and all of these phenomena, if you will, that occur for some women that I don't have any experience with, because my cycles just aren't like that. So I'm trying to talk to them and make sure that I'm thorough, as it were. And then the other thing is, I have actually been specially requested. I feel so special. It's the first time anybody's actually requested a particular video from me. Is a video about how to make a patchwork pieced topper, so we call them quilted pads, but they're not really quilted. It's you take little patches of fabric and you piece them together to make a pad topper, and I was asked to do a video about that, so I'm going to do that. And then there's one finally that I have been working on for ages, about how to get out a stubborn spot. See, I promise I did not forget. I'm still working on that. I don't get very many stains. In fact, I've only had one that I could not get to release, and I've done lots and lots of things to it, and it still hasn't come completely out. So I'm not really sure how to do a video about that. I don't yet feel that I'm an authority on stain removal, because the one that I had, I haven't been able to get out. Quite frankly, I'm about to resort to using chlorine bleach on it. Not straight chlorine bleach, but, you know, washing it in a bleach cycle, which is not something I want to recommend to people. I'm hoping to find a way that you can do that without putting chlorine bleach into your cloth pads, unless we're trying to get rid of some kind of an infectious agent, or, you know, some kind of thing that's going to make you sick, and a stain isn't going to make you sick. I wouldn't want you to have to use chlorine bleach to get a stain out. So I'm not really sure. And it's very, very faded at this point. At this point, honestly, if I set it out in the sun for an hour, the stain would be completely gone. So I'm going to have to get more stain pads, I guess, before I can do a good video on that. But I promise that if I ever find out some big special secret for getting out the tough stains that my regular washing process doesn't get out, I will share that with you, I promise. So those are the videos that I'm working on right now that I just haven't been able to finish for you yet, but they are in the works. And then I thought that I would go ahead and talk to you a little bit about why I am this way about words. I'm from the American South, and for those outside of America, or for Americans who have never really spent time in the American South, my culture, the culture I was raised in, we don't talk about money. We don't talk, I mean, it's very British almost. It's very, I think the English people might get this. I don't know what they're like in Wales, but the Irish and the Scots are not like this as much as I noticed that the English people are. I think we got it from the British. But we tend to place a very high value on being polite and on keeping private things private. And that's not because we want to skirt the issue or we don't want to talk about it. I mean, I'm on the internet talking about menstruation. So obviously I don't have that kind of an inhibition about it, but I just don't think there's any reason for us to make it vulgar. You know what I mean? And not that the word vagina is vulgar. It's just, where I come from, it's just more polite. It's easier if you put it in terminology that's cuter. I am more comfortable conversing that way. I'm fully aware of what the medical terms are, but also, you know, I'm a mother, and we don't teach a toddler to walk around saying, I need to urinate. We teach them to say something else. I mean, I've met little kids who say that, and it's cute and it's fine. I have no judgment whatsoever. In fact, I think that's fantastic. But that's just not where I'm coming from. I come from a place where we put flowers on it, and we put out cloth napkins, and we put rings on them, you know, and we just try to make it pretty. We try to make it comfortable. We try to make things easy for people. It's etiquette. I don't know if you know this, but the purpose of etiquette is not to make people feel bad. It's not to make people feel awkward because they don't know which fork to use. That's not what the rules of etiquette are about. Every rule in traditional etiquette, like, you know, 19th century etiquette, those things were all created to make people feel comfortable, so that people from whatever class they come from, if they come in, now if you get into like the Downton Abbey royal dinner type stuff, those traditions and stuff were not made with that in mind. Those traditions are very old, and they all have significance of their own. But etiquette rules are designed to make people comfortable, so that no matter who your company is, they will know what to do, and they will be set at ease. At your dinner table, with your manners, sitting in your living room. whether they're strangers or friends or whatever socioeconomic status divide you may have from your company. That's what those are about. And that's the culture I was raised in. And so for me to sit around and use words that I know are going to make quite a few people uncomfortable, it just doesn't seem like the right thing to do to me. And so what's more natural for me is to call them lady bits. What's more natural for me is to use euphemistic phraseology. And it's not because there's anything wrong with using the proper terms, but I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to sit up here and pretend to be one. I'm just a lady from Arkansas who's trying to help ladies be more comfortable during their menstrual cycle. And so I think that I shy away from words that evoke unpleasant imagery. I shy away from words that make people uncomfortable, just because that's who I am. So if you want to call it a soaker, you go ahead and call it a soaker. And if you want to refer to the menstrual cycle or female genitalia with medical terms or even vulgar terms, that's your bag, man. You go and you do it. But as for me, I prefer to keep things light, and I prefer to keep things comfortable for everybody, because that's just who I am. And trust me, periods are not the only area of life where I do that. And the dog wants to go to bed now. It's long past time for me to go to bed now, so I think I'm going to do that. But anyway, I will see you again soon. There are so many things I'm trying to accomplish and finish for you, and I hope to have several of them for you next week. Okay, good night.